Hey everybody, happy December 2024. This is Life and Spiritual Coaching video series, and this month's segment is all about life purpose, right? The meaning of life and your purpose. And those two are very different things and yet sometimes seem like the same thing. So, what I want to discuss with you this evening is what is the meaning of life? Now, isn't that like the age-old question, right? It's been there since the dawn of time. What is the meaning of life? I want to say that everybody's perception of the meaning of life is different. Basically, from my perspective, the meaning of life for me means living my life to the fullest, to explore everything I want to explore, to go through the lessons I've had to learn, including the lessons that I'm going to learn as I progress through my life. And I think it's just a progression of self, mind, body, and spirit. So I don't really tag a lot of science to it. I think it's just everybody has some sort of an universal reason for being here. So, everybody has their own philosophies or thought processes or belief systems on what they believe, whether it's God put me here for a reason, or the universe put me here for a reason, or it's science, the Big Bang put us all here, whatever it may be. But however we got here, why are you here? So think about this. So I'll go with myself, okay? I am fully open to what I've been through, and I'm willing to share with you. And maybe some of it will resonate with you, and some of it won't. But you may be able to look back on your own life and go, "Oh, okay, hold on, I got this. I'm 57, and I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot in my life. And, I have to say I've had a decent life, a couple of screw ups, I'm sure, here and there, failed relationships, failed friendships, some things that just fell off to the side without any explanation. It just is what it is. But I know I can say that throughout my life, I have been involved with a lot of people, family, friends, and otherwise, that have helped me and motivated me and taught me so much. No matter if they were positive or negative people. And that's one of the things you have to remember is part of the meaning of being here is learning what needs to be learned to progress your soul. Okay? Like myself, I believe in many lifetimes. Now, whether that's past life regression, we've lived multiple lives, or we're living, multiple lives at once. That's another thing that's been thrown out there in the quantum physics department. So, it's whatever you believe in. But in my life, I have learned a lot. I had a mom who I loved very much. We were very close. We would talk every day. Even once I moved out, was married and whatnot, every single day. Just very connected to her. Now, there was a part of my mother I didn't like. Something that she used to do, and it used to upset me a lot, and I used to try to get her to stop, and she didn't. And it kind of taught me of what not to do, and I know this is a situation where many people have been in this situation, and we all have a choice. And this is where the lessons come in. So you have someone who has a behavior that is not good. And, the whole person is great, but that behavior is no bueno, right? So I'm like, okay, so what do? Do I follow in the footsteps and create that behavior, or do I move in a different direction? I chose to move in a different direction. But not completely. So instead of doing the addiction she had, I chose a different type of one. But this was one that didn't make me weird, didn't make me foggy, anything like that. It didn't impair any of my judgments, but it was still an addiction of sorts. And I came to realize later in life that, okay, Why do we have those? Why do we take addictions? Anger. Anger is one of them. Okay, we hold on to a lot of stuff. We hold on to a lot of anger, and people, oh, I'm not angry. Well, maybe right now, not in this minute, but you have been angry. And the anger is the reason why we take on these different addictions. It could be shopping, it could be cleaning, it could be OCD things, it could be smoking, it could be drinking, it could be drugs, it could be working, it could be, oh my God, so many different things, you know? And it took me a long time. Like, even after my mom had passed and whatnot, I was married, and that was falling apart, and I was just, and that taught me many, many more lessons, but right now we'll finish with this one. Basically, it took me to realize going through, because basically my addiction, I used to smoke cigarettes, and I did for many, many years. And of course, back in the 70s, 80s, of course, that was the thing to do. Everybody did it, right? So you did it. But I found that I was doing it because it helped me to relax. If I was angry, I would smoke. If I was having coffee, I would smoke. If I went out for a drink with friends, you have a smoke, you know? And it was just like, after dinner, have a smoke. And it was just like, oh my God, this habit just continues. But I found that, you know what? Once I got divorced, I'm like, that's it. My kids were on me and everything. I was like, you know what? I got to do this. I got to do this for me because I need this. I'm letting go of the anger. I'm done. I do not need that to help me with my anger. I can manage my anger. And I did. I learned to manage my anger through breathing, through meditation, through journaling, through any means possible. But for those of you who maybe do still smoke, think about that. Why did you start? I started because I thought it was cool. Okay? Because everybody did it. It looked really cool when other people were doing it. Like, oh, I want to do that too. But that's because I did not have the confidence or the self-esteem to just be who I was. I wanted to follow the crowd. Do I follow the crowd anymore? Yeah, no, not at all. So, lesson learned. So, I got away from that. And now I deal with my life's stresses and strains on my own. I don't need all that stuff. And even then, I don't hold all that in. So, the meaning of life, it's learning lessons. I've learned to let go of the anger. I've learned to let go of the sadness. I've learned to let go of the judgment because all those years I judged my mother on that addiction that she had. I came to realize in her last days why. And it was sad. It was really sad. And she held that in her whole life and I never knew. I never knew until that point. I had an idea but really didn't know. And she confirmed it. Everything my mom had was repressed anger. Repressed anger. So let it go. Don't hold on to it. So I learned not to hold on to my anger. I learned to move forward. I learned to deal with fear. Not that I don't get fearful. Oh my God, I still get fearful. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. But you know what? I just have to do it anyway. I tell people it's like jumping in a swimming pool in the middle of the summer. You're so warm, but yet you want to jump in the water to cool off, but you know the water's cold. But you're sitting there and like you're tippy toeing, you know, a toe and a foot and then maybe an ankle and then maybe the legs. And it's like, oh, it's too cold. And you get back out and you're sweating and you go back in again and it's still cold. And it's like, just jump in and get it over with, right? Just jump in and get it over with. So sometimes that's what we have to do in life. We really do. I was married twice. My first husband, I knew what I was in for. I knew what I was signing up for. I was a lifelonger for marriage. You know, I kind of followed the Catholic thing back then. But that's what was instilled into me. And I learned that lying, cheating, and making excuses is not a relationship. So I let it go. I let it go. I had to let it go the hard way, with a lot of signs from Spirit, from throwing my wedding picture on the floor at least a half a dozen times, before I started realizing, like, yeah, I think I know what they're talking about, and yeah. So anyway, but I learned to become more independent, because during this first marriage of mine, he was a nice person, he was funny, but he wanted a lot of things his way. You know, he was very selfish, and it was no compromise. It was just crazy. And it's like the longer it went on, the worse it got. And finally, when the universe is like, look, she's not listening, we're going to throw a monkey wrench into this thing. That's exactly what happened. And he just didn't come home one night, and I just knew why. So, lesson learned, right? Trust your intuition. Trust your feelings. Don't put those damn blinders on, because it takes you nowhere. But you know what? I made so many excuses for him, and so many reasons why, I couldn't pay my bills or whatever. And they're like, he's buying all these toys and things that he loves, but yet you can't pay your bills. I'm like, well, he deserves it. He works hard. But, right? I'm sure some of you have probably done or said the same thing. So, therefore, lesson learned. No, I'm taking back my independence. I'm taking back my power. I'm not making excuses for you or anybody else for that matter. Got married a second time. I am a big soft sap, and I am a fixer. Okay, I will admit it. I am a fixer. And this person was great in the beginning. Oh my God, wowed me with all kinds of great things. Dinner, shows, flowers, whatnot. We actually went on a trip. We got engaged. The whole thing. It was great. We had 3 kids. It was great. But then it seemed like the more independent I was getting, the tougher he was getting. Because, like many of you have probably experienced, I married a narcissist. And in the beginning, it was perfect. And then as things got more involved, such as children, then building a house because we were having children, and all these different things, it was like, it was less attention on him and more on everything else. Now the house needed attention, the kids needed attention, and he's like, and then he was like, well, I have to go take care of myself. I'm like, okay. Which, again, okay, I know he works crazy hours, he works long hours. Go take care of yourself, do what you got to do. But then there was lots of things that kept popping up, and I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. And I'm like, okay, something's got to give. Something's got to give. And again, the fear started setting in. So I did what I needed to do, and I'm like, I think this needs to stop, because it's not healthy anymore. The narcissism got so bad that he was doing everything in his power to make me feel like this big, and everything was my fault. And, the kids were hearing a lot of this stuff, and it wasn't good for them either. I mean, that's what you got to stop and think, like, wait a minute, this isn't just about me. I have 3 other people I have to worry about. So again, I didn't move quite fast enough, and the universe made it happen again. This time, out of nowhere, he just says, do you even want me around? And I went, no. And I was like, oh my God, I said it. Right? Well, here we go. So lesson learned. I took my power back. I got my independence back. The first time it was like, okay, I gotta focus on me. This time it was really about, no, I need my power back. I need my confidence, my self-esteem. I need to be a person. And I wanted to open up Sisters of Solace with my sister. And that was another thing he couldn't control. And, he was like, oh, fine, because he could tell everybody, oh, yes, my wife opened up a business. But yet at the same time, it was like, yeah, well, what about me? You're always over there. I'm like, I'm not always over there. But to him, it was, I was always there. One thing I did do is set good boundaries. But yeah, so that fell apart. So, I got my independence back. I got my strength. I got my courage. These are all the things that we're here to learn, and I've learned I can't fix people. I can't. People can come see me for services. They can come get Reiki. They can get a reading, coaching, whatever it may be. But it's up to you, the individual, to take what I give you and go with it. So I can't fix you. I can only give you some tools, and then you have to take the tools and move on. So I've come to learn that about myself as well. So the meaning of life is just that, to go through life, to go through the ups, go through the downs, go through the crazy, go through the stress, the negativity, the positivity, the love, the hate, all of it. Does it suck? Yeah, it sucks sometimes. It really does. But again, it's part of the reason why you're here. That to me is the meaning of life. I've had to learn to let my kids just be themselves. I promised myself I would not be a helicopter mom. If they finished college and decided they wanted to move out, I let them go. If they needed to come back, I would definitely have let them back, obviously. But it's like, no, they're independent. I've taught them well. I've taught them to be strong. I taught them to be independent. I taught them to face their fears and go after whatever they want. And that's what they're doing. So I know some people come to see me and they're like, oh my God, my kid's going to college. I don't know what to do. I'm like, just let them go. But then what if they move out? Or what if they want to go out of state? I'm like, so let them go. I let my daughter go to Ecuador, right? Of all places. But that's where she wanted to go. I says, you go, you learn, you go through your college stuff, you do your teachings down there. Just be careful. And she had the most amazing experience in her life. Oh my God. Now, what would have happened if I tried to suppress that? She would have missed out on so much because of me. Her life is not mine. Mine isn't hers. So yes, I step back and I go, oh, I hope it's going to be okay. But I ask God, I ask the angels, I ask my parents, please watch over them while they're doing their thing, and they're fine. They're fine. They have to live their life and they have to go through their own experiences. So let them. That's also part of your lessons, right? Because many of us don't want to let go. We don't want to. We want to, but we don't, So that's just a few things. Some of the other things I've learned business-wise, been in business for almost 19 years. March 1st of 2025, it'll be 19 years. And, we've done great, and it's because of all of you people. The people who come in for services or come in and buy things or watch the videos, whatever it may be. There's always a way you're contributing, and we're very grateful for that. So business-wise, it was like, okay, that's a whole new step. I spent working from 17 up to 38 doing restaurant work, retail work. Oh my God, what else did I do? Nursing home. I was a CNA, and then I stayed home for 5 years with my kids and then went on to start a business. And I've never started a business. I never went to college. School just wasn't my thing. But basically knew from previous experience and some of the things I've done that you open a business, you have an income and you have expenses. You balance those two things out and see if you made a profit. It's pretty basic, really. We're just a small business. We're nothing huge, it's just the two of us. But, I've learned to work with my sister, and people are amazed that I can work with my sister. And I'm like, well, we think alike, really. She is much different than I am. But as far as the business end of things, we're on the same page. So that's what makes it work. Many families can't work together. I've heard those stories many, many times. But, we've learned to have boundaries because as business owners, we've been hurt in the past. We say, I help everybody. I can fix everybody. I'll teach you that class for free because I think you need it. It would help you. Right? Yeah, come on in. You can sit in on my class. I'm not going to charge you. It's well deserved. Every person I've ever given a free class to has snubbed me afterwards. And I go, okay, I get it. I'm going to stop. Okay? Not to say that you can't do that, but the ones I did do it for were the ones I probably shouldn't have done it for. I've taught somebody all 3 levels of Reiki, and they turned around and told someone who wrote a book that they learned their Reiki somewhere else. That's okay. Did I get mad? No. Because I know what my truth is, and that's what matters. Their karma is theirs, mine is mine, and I'm not going to worry about it. Because it's no skin off my teeth, their stories. Not at all. I've had other people I've taught Reiki to, people that knew for a long time, and then all of a sudden out of the clear blue sky, poof, all done. Why? Who knows? It just happens. It just happens. But, the giving away of things for free, it's... Only if you truly want to. Don't do it because you think you can fix that person. That is a big no-no. So, meaning of life, there we go again. Right? All the lessons, all the learning, all the experiences, whatever it may be. That's, to me, the meaning of life. Now, what is the end game in this meaning of life? Well, the end game is to learn. I don't care if you're 90 years old and they're saying, what's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to live, to learn, to let go, and to love. That's really what it's all about. Excuse me. So think about that. We also love one another. But a lot of times we put that judgment right in front of that word love and go, yeah, but that person's this and that person's that. No, every person in this world is a spark of the divine because we all came from the same place. Whether you call it God, whether you call it creator, whether you call it universe or Allah or any other word out there, I don't know them all. So it doesn't matter. We all started from somewhere. We all have that spark of the divine. We do. Now, what happens with that spark is through growing up, through belief systems, through, oh my God, how you were treated, how you were raised, all the belief systems that you were instilled into you. That's what kind of changes that spark. Like I said, I could have been with these people and I could have just stayed angry my whole life and went, can you believe he's still around? Can you believe my mother this? Can you? It is what it is. It's done. It's over. I'm not carrying it with me. Life is too short. So you know what? Underneath all that crap that I dealt with was still a spark of the divine. It really, really was. So, that's what we have to remember, to let go of that judgment. So yes, just love. You can say, you know what? I love my mother, but from a distance, because we just don't get along right now. I love this person, even my ex, I can still say, you know what? I love him because we had a shared time together. We had 3 beautiful kids together, but that's the extent of that for now, and that's okay. That's okay. It's one of those, I love you, but with boundaries. I love you, but with boundaries. And that's what it has to be sometimes. It really does. So yeah, meaning of life, it is. It's live and it's learn and it's let go and it's love. So when I'm old and somebody says that to me, I hope I can come up with that and just say, yeah, it's in all reality, when it's said, everything's said and done, I experienced love in my life. I learned a lot in my life. I let go of a lot in my life, Don't mind me, my cat is trying to get onto my lap. Okay, here she is. So this is Mama. She's waiting for me because she knows usually at night, this is what I go sit and she sits with me. So she's probably wondering why I'm not sitting yet. So the next part, okay, purpose. There's a meaning to life and it's all about learning, but there's also purpose in life. So what is your purpose? That's a big question. Everybody asks me that. What's my purpose? I don't know my purpose. Your purpose always changes. For the most part, it always changes. Obviously, as a child, a young teen or older teen, your purpose is to learn. Your purpose is to figure things out. Your purpose is to, oh my God, fall apart and put yourself back together again. Your purpose is to figure out who you are. Right? Because don't we all go through that in our teen years, trying to figure out who we are? Your purpose always changes again after that because maybe you go to school and you learn a career and, okay, what's my purpose? Well, maybe you're going to be a doctor. This one's going to be a nurse. So that one's going to be an engineer. This one's going to be a contractor. This one's going to be a woodworker. Whatever it is. That is a purpose. It is not always your solid purpose. So my purpose, I know, is to help people because, yes, I know I'm an overhelper, but I said that earlier, but every job I've ever had was to help others. So I started in restaurants. I worked the kitchen. I did dishes. I waited tables. I cooked. I prepped. I did everything, okay, in restaurants for 10 years. I did everything. I worked in retail. I was manager of a convenience store chain. I had one of their stores in Taunton. And I was only 19 when I did that. And I went to school and they taught me everything I needed to know. And I worked that as hard as I could work it. And so I know the ins and outs. I know the incomes. I know the expenses. I know this, that, and the other, you know. But all those things led me to where I am now. So like I said, I mean, I worked in a nursing home. So I was a CNA. I was always taking care of people. And now here I am again. I am a Reiki master. So I do Reiki, I do readings, I do coaching, I do videos, I do classes, I do meditations. I mean, again, always something to help others. This, I feel, is my purpose. It will probably be my purpose until I don't want to do it anymore. Meaning retirement, or I'm just tired of working, you know. For me, retirement isn't a thing. I mean, this is something I feel I could do for many, 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 many years. Will I? Who knows? We'll see what happens when the time comes. My purpose can change. But yeah, I mean, I've always done something that helps people. And here I am doing the same thing again, 19 years in. So, you know, it can always change. It can always change. I just did a reading for somebody recently who had this job, and due to, I forget what it was, COVID or something. I forget what it was. But anyway, got out of that profession and ended up doing another one. And I was like, huh. But during the reading, I'm like, you're doing this now. What did you used to do before? I see you blending those two together and doing something for yourself. And they just looked at me. I'm like, things can change. Things can change. So your purpose can always change. Your purpose may be to get through those life lessons. Maybe your job is fine, your house is fine, but you just got to let go of your stuff. That is your purpose in that moment. And when you feel like you're stuck and don't know what's going on, like, what is my purpose? Why isn't anything moving? Why am I not moving forward? Because sometimes we need a break. So I tell people, if you're feeling stuck, like nothing's moving, nothing's happening, it's because you're in a pause. I've done the same thing many times, literally sitting there and go, oh, I don't know why. I feel like I'm supposed to get up and go do something. Like, I really feel that. Like, I want to stand up and go do something and have no idea what it is. And I go, okay, that means something's coming, because that universe always lets me know that's how I feel. And then not long after, something new pops in. So you just go with it. Just go with it. So don't pull your hair out. Don't let that hamster wheel drive you crazy. Don't worry about what your purpose is. If you live life every day, just focusing on what you can do in that day for yourself, that's all you got to do. The universe will let you know. It'll guide you. It'll direct you. It'll push you in the right direction. And I know everybody panics. What if I'm not listening? What if I'm not paying attention? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I missed my opportunity? Oh, you don't miss your opportunity. The universe puts it in front of you until you get it. So don't worry. Don't worry. So yes, our purposes are very abundant. Okay, that's the best word I can say. Very abundant, because yes, you can have a main purpose, like maybe you're going to be a doctor your whole life, but yet throughout your life, you're going to have other purposes happen. Private, marriage, children, things that you need to do for yourself, maybe a new foundation you're supposed to start, or maybe a fundraising thing you're supposed to start. Those are all different purposes. So there's not always just one purpose. There's many, okay? And again, just go with it. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. So that's my talk for this month. I'm not going to drag this out any further, but I wish you all the best and a very happy and Merry Christmas. And I'll see you in January when all the new stuff starts. Take care.